Good morning, students and viewers. Welcome to my YouTube channels, the Diligent Coaching Seminary. It is an academic channels in which I upload the tutorial videos which is based on the courses of the schools and college levels. I want to request all the students, please watch my videos completely and get the benefit for your study. Before to start my today's tutorial, I want to request all the students and viewer, please kindly subscribe my channels and press in the bell icons such that whenever I upload any new tutorial videos, you will get the notification and you can watch that. And I also want to request all the students and viewers, please like and share my videos and comments on the videos so that I will get inspiration and encouragement to bring more tutorial classes and lectures for you. And I also want to request all the students, if you want the tutorial for particular topics of the particular lesson and particular class, particular subject, you can mention that in the comments and I will bring those videos whatever you have requested for me to bring. So today I am going to give you the tutorial for class 10 students in the subject of science, and in science today I will teach you the chapter force. So the students and viewers, let's start to study the chapter force of class 10 science. The chapter force is the first chapter of the physics of the class 10. It is the first chapter of the entire science book as well. So I want to request all the class 10 students start to listen my lectures on the force chapter. The chapter force of class 10 science book start from gravitational force. You have to start to learn this chapter from gravitational force. So I am going to start to teach you about the gravitational force detailedly. First of all, gravitational force is defined as the mutual force of attraction between any two objects in the universe. The mutual force of attraction between any two objects in the universe is known as the gravitational force. It means there is force of attraction between any two objects in the universe. For example, there is force of attraction between a desk and a bench of your classroom. That means desk is attracting bench, bench is attracting desk. There is attraction between the desk and bench of your class. Similarly, there is attraction between book and copy which is located on your table. It means book is attracting copy, copy is attracting book. Similarly, there is force of attraction between your house and your neighbor house. It means your house is attracting your neighbor house and your neighbor house is attracting your house. That means such kind of force of attraction exists between any two objects in the universe. The force of attraction is between small objects and it can be found between huge objects as well. And such kind of force of attraction which is found between any two objects in the universe is the gravitational force. So I think you become clear. The mutual force of attraction between any two objects in the universe is called gravitational force. So in my explanation I have said you there is force of attraction between any two objects in the universe. I think you are being confused. If there is force of attraction between any two objects in the universe, then why we are not being able to notice such attraction between the objects which are around us? As I have mentioned in my examples, there is force of attraction between desk and bench of the classroom, but we are not noticing that desk is pulling the bench or bench is pulling the desk, that means we are not noticing any effect of such kind of attraction, is it or not? And similarly, we are not seeing that the attraction between book and copy which is located in the table as well. Neither book is pulling the copy nor copy is pulling the book. So I think if there is force of attraction between any two objects around us, why we are not seeing any effect of such kind of attraction? You are being confused on this. So I am going to clarify on this fact. Yes, there is force of attraction between any two objects in the universe. There is force of attraction between any two objects which are around us. One object is attracting other object. The desk is attracting bench, bench is attracting desk. Our house are attracting our neighbor house are attracting our houses, is it or not? And similarly, copy is attracting the book is attracting the copy, pen is attracting the pencil is attracting the pen. Yes, there is attraction between any two objects in the universe. But what is the reason that we are not being able to notice such kind of attraction? That means why we are not seeing any effect of such kind of attraction? The reason behind this fact is, yes, there is force of attraction between any two objects around us, but the magnitude of such kind of force of attraction is extremely low. That means if we calculate the magnitude of such kind of force of attraction between the objects which are around us, that means in the case of any normal two objects, then the numerical value is obtained extremely less, extremely low. Like the force of attraction between normal objects around us is found like it is like 10 to the power minus 9 Newton, 10 to the power minus 10 Newton, 10 to the power minus 11 Newton. So like this, it is obtained in extremely low decimal value. And you know, such magnitude of force cannot be noticed. This is the reason that we are not seeing any effect of such kind of attraction between two objects around us. I mean to say, the attraction between any two objects is there in the case of objects around us, but the magnitude of such kind of force of attraction is extremely low, like 10 to the power minus 9 Newton, 10 to the power minus 10 Newton, 10 to the power minus 11 Newton, 10 to the power minus 12 Newton, like this. And such low magnitude force cannot be noticed. We can notice only particular magnitude of force only, like we can notice 1 Newton force, 2 Newton force, is it or not? But we cannot notice the force like 0.0000001 Newton force, or we cannot notice the force like 0.0000012 Newton force, like this. So such kind of low magnitude of force is there in the case of attraction. So the attraction exists between any two objects in the whole universe. It can be found between two small and microscopic objects as well. Like it can be found between two unicellular animals as well. And it can be found between two living objects, or it can be found between two non-living objects as well. And it can be found between two huge objects as well. Like the force of attraction exists between two heavenly bodies. Like it can be found between two planets. The force of attraction is there between two satellites. Such kind of attraction is present between two stars. It is present between two galaxies, like this as well. So there is mutual force of attraction between any two objects in the universe, but we cannot notice in the case of the normal objects around us, because the numerical value of the such kind of force of attraction is extremely low. The magnitude of such kind of force of attraction is extremely low. That is the reason we cannot notice, but that kind of attraction is definitely there. And there are different kind of force you have studied in your life. You have studied about the pulling force, pushing force, centripetal force, centrifugal force, like this. But out of all those kind of force, the gravitational force is the most weakest kind of force. The most weakest kind of the force is gravitational force. So students and viewers, in your examination, such kind of questions can be asked. What is the name of the weakest known force in the universe? And the answer of the question is, the weakest known force in the universe is obviously the gravitational force. Such kind of weakest force which cannot be even noticed as well in the case of normal objects. So I have clarified to you, the gravitational force is the most weakest force and it cannot be noticed in the case of normal objects around us. But it is not that the gravitational force is always that unnoticeable. It is not that we cannot notice the gravitational force every time. You should not think like that. So gravitational force is not always meaningless. Yes, the gravitational force is meaningless in the case of normal objects around us, but the gravitational force is always not meaningless. That means it cannot be noticed in the case of normal objects. It cannot cause any effect in the case of normal objects. But now when we take the case of huge objects, the gravitational force also can cause the effect. That means gravitational force also can be noticed. An effect of the gravitational force can be noticed in the case of huge objects like heavenly bodies. So it cannot be noticed in the case of heavenly bodies like planets, satellites, stars, galaxies, like this. It cannot be noticed only in the case of the normal objects which are around us, but the gravitational force between the planets, the gravitational force between the satellites, gravitational force between the stars can be noticed easily. An effect of the gravitational force can be found as well. So students, here I have mentioned, which you can see in your screen, the mutual force of attraction between any two objects in the universe is known as the gravitational force, and the weakest known force in the universe is gravitational force. And now I have already said you, the gravitational force can be noticed in the case of heavenly bodies. So let's see the examples of the gravitational force which we can notice, and we can see several examples. And here I have mentioned two examples, like all the planets revolve around the sun in the elliptical orbit. This is due to the gravitational force between the planet and the sun. There is gravitational force of attraction between the planets and the sun, and due to the gravitational force of attraction between the planet and the sun, all the planets are revolving around the sun in the elliptical orbit. And here the gravitational force is playing the role of centripetal force for the circular motion. You know, for the circular motion, centripetal force is necessary. Centripetal force exists. And when the planets revolve around the sun in the elliptical orbit, then the gravitational force plays the role of centripetal force. That means if there is no gravitational force, then the planets cannot revolve around the sun. The planets can revolve around the sun in the elliptical orbit. It is only because of the gravitational force. The gravitational force of attraction between the planets and the sun is responsible for the planets which are revolving around the sun in the elliptical orbit. So this is the first effect of the gravitational force. It is one example of the gravitational force which we can notice. And another example of the gravitational force I have mentioned here, the tides occur in the sea or ocean. It is also due to the gravitational force. First of all, you have to know the definition of the tides. And I think you know that tides means the phenomenon of the rising of the water level in the sea or ocean. If you have visited sea or ocean, you may have seen there the water level in the sea or ocean frequently rises from its initial level. And such kind of phenomenon in which the water level rises in the sea or ocean is known as the tides. And such kind of phenomenon of the tides occur in the sea or ocean also. It is due to the effect of the gravitational force between the moon and the earth. You know, there is gravitational force between moon and the earth, and due to the gravitational force of attraction between the moon and the earth, we can see the tides occur in the sea or ocean. And if there is no gravitational force of attraction between the moon and the earth, then tides also cannot occur in the sea or ocean. So here I have mentioned two examples of the gravitational force which we can see, which we can notice easily. All the planets revolve around the sun in the elliptical orbit. This is due to the gravitational force of attraction between the sun and the planets. And tides occur in the sea or ocean. It is also due to the gravitational force of attraction between the moon and the earth. So I think you become clear in this fact. Now, what is the SI unit of the gravitational force? Such kind of question also can be asked to you. And SI unit of the gravitational force is definitely Newton, because SI unit of force is Newton. SI unit of any kind of force is Newton. So gravitational force is also definitely a kind of force. So SI unit of gravitational force is Newton, like other kind of force. I think you become clear about the gravitational force and in which way it exists. Now such kind of question can be asked to a student, like which force is responsible for motion of the planets around the sun? All the planets are revolving around the sun in the elliptical orbit, and I have already discussed you the reason is the gravitational force. The force which is responsible for the motion of the planets around the sun is gravitational force. Gravitational force between the sun and the planets plays the role of centripetal force, and because of this centripetal force, all the planets revolve around the sun in their elliptical orbit. I think you are seeing the answer in the screen. The force which is responsible for the motion of the planets around the sun is gravitational force. The gravitational force between the sun and the planets plays the role of centripetal force. I have already discussed a lot about this fact just few minutes before. Now I have already said you the gravitational force exists between any two objects in the universe, but why we are not being able to experience that? I have already said you the magnitude of such kind of force of attraction is extremely low, due to which we are not being able to notice the force of attraction in the case of normal objects. So here I have mentioned one question and its answer. The gravitational force cannot be experienced between normal objects. Why? And the reason is the magnitude of the gravitational force of attraction is extremely low between any two normal objects, due to which we cannot see any effect, due to which it cannot cause any effect in the normal objects. So gravitational force cannot be experienced between any normal two objects. And I have already said you the gravitational force of attraction can be experienced only in the case of heavenly bodies. Like it can be experienced in the case of stars, it can be experienced in the case of planets, satellites, like this, because those objects are extremely used. That is the reason we are being able to observe this. So students, I want to revise whatever I have taught you today. First of all, I have taught you what do you mean by gravitational force, and gravitational force is defined as the mutual force of attraction between any two objects in the universe is called gravitational force. And the gravitational force is the weakest known force in the universe. And the gravitational force of attraction cannot be noticed in the case of normal objects, but it can be noticed in the case of huge objects. And the gravitational force of attraction can be noticed in the case of planets, satellites, and other heavenly bodies. And here I have mentioned two examples of the gravitational force which we can notice easily. That is, all the planets revolve around the sun in the elliptical orbit. It is due to the gravitational force of attraction between the sun and the planets. And tides occur in the sea or ocean. It is also due to the gravitational force of attraction between the earth and the moon. And if there is no gravitational force of attraction, then the planets cannot revolve around the sun, and tides also cannot occur in the sea or ocean. And SI unit of the gravitational force is Newton, because it is also one kind of force. And after that, the name of the force which is responsible for the motion of the planets around the sun is the gravitational force between the planets and the sun. And here gravitational force between the sun and the planet plays the role of centripetal force for the circular motion. And gravitational force cannot be experienced in the case of normal objects, because the gravitational force between two normal objects is such that the magnitude of such kind of force of attraction is extremely low. That means force of attraction exists between any two normal objects, but such kind of force of attraction is extremely low. That means its magnitude is like 10 to the power minus 9 Newton, 10 to the power minus 10 Newton, 10 to the power minus 7 Newton, like this. And such kind of low magnitude of force cannot be noticed. So I have given you the initial lecture in the chapter force of the class 10 science subject, and in my today's video I want to give just this much lecture, and in my upcoming tutorial videos I'll be giving you the further lecture in the chapter of the force. Today I want to finish my video, and I want to request again all the students and viewers, please kindly subscribe my channels and press the bell icon such that whenever I upload any new tutorial videos, you will get the notification and you will get benefit for your study. And if you want a tutorial for the particular chapter or for the particular subjects of the particular class, you can mention that in the comment box. You can request me in the comment box. I will bring the tutorial for that. So for today I want to say goodbye. Goodbye from the Diligent Coaching Seminary. Thank you all the students.